Welcome to Habs Unfiltered, episode 230. I'm your host, Blaine Petry, and I'm joined now by my co-hosts, Matt Smith.
Good evening.
And Treg, I am Isolated Wilson.
Hello.
So, Matt, you and I were on the show last week, so I'm going to give Treg an opportunity to give us a little update. How is isolation treating you?
It kind of sucks, but not too bad. The whole family now has COVID, so my isolation is going to last a little longer because I'm close contact with people with COVID, even though I have COVID. So I got to stay home for another, I don't know, till next Monday, I guess. And yeah, so that's it. It's kind of boring. We've had some friends and stuff drop off some family drop off stuff to our doorstep that we needed, some groceries and that. And I know, Blaine, you reached out and said if I needed anything, you would help. But so far, so good. We'll see how it goes.
I kept leaving bags of poop on your front step.
I haven't gone outside, so I don't know.
Your lawn will be fertilized.
Like I when I first got it, me and the wife and I got it the same. Well, I had symptoms the night before. The next night she got symptoms, so we both did it. My first night I did a test, I was negative. The next night I did a test, we were both positive. So we isolated downstairs, and the kids were upstairs. My son and daughter were upstairs. And then my daughter just started not feeling good. My son started not feeling good. And then they tested positive. So, which I know this sounds bad. It kind of worked out because now we can just roam about the whole house and, didn't have to rely on the kids to do absolutely nothing for us. So
The only thing that's bad about this is that you can get it again.
well,
It's not like you're having like a chicken pox party or
actually,
something.
I've been pretty bored. I don't know if anyone noticed on Twitter. I'm kind of like really enthralled with this trucker convoy on a sarcastical kind of way. But I did some research on it, and they said actually I probably have a less of a percentage of getting COVID now that I'm triple vaccinated and have COVID than anyone who's just double vaccinated. So
COVID's listening right now, and it's like, we'll see about that.
Yeah. The Decepticon variant will come out and be like, "Screw you, Wilson.
That's right.
You're done." So it kind of sucks.
You want to go to the gym? Go fuck yourself.
It kind of sucks because I'm in a prep right now, and now I can't go to the gym, so my prep's kind of shit. Although I did lose weight, but still, it wasn't because I was.
It could be the cutting phase.
Well, it's cutting all right. It's cutting everything.
All right. Well, at least you're feeling a little bit better. No one's really got heavy symptoms, so that's important.
No, we're all good. Like I say, it was just like a bad head cold, and like even now I have a stuffed up nose and a scratchy throat, still coughing up some shit, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Good times.
Yeah.
All right. Matt, you just finished work. Yay, Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force. Looking forward to some time off.
I still don't believe you actually work, because the Air Force around here doesn't work at all. Helicopter guys and plane guys are two different things in the Air Force, if you ask me.
That's very true. It is very true.
Yeah.
Different breeds.
Yeah, they just go and they go out and they fix the whirly bird, and they're like, "Why is everything vibrating?" All right, so
that's the way it should be.
Well, they just use pop cans and gun tape. That's all they do.
That's all it is.
You joke, but the last time I went on a Sea King to help fix the IFF, the identification friend or foe, for those who are listening, I went on to help fix IFF, and we were using duct tape and old tin to hold that crap together. Those Sea Kings were, I think the one we were on was like 54 years old.
I've used a beer box before to reinforce an antenna when we were landing on a rough runway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go Canada.
Yeah. Hey, it worked.
The important thing is you got to empty out the beer case first.
That's right. That's right.
That's why it was a rough runway.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on from all that, this episode, we're going to be covering quite a bit. There's been some new news. The Canadiens are starting an off week, so we've got time to catch up because nothing new is going to happen at all.
No.
Not at all.
I have an insider information.
Ooh, do you want to kick it off with insider information?
No. Well, I think we're going to get to it. And when we
We're going
get
to
to
tease it
I'll
out
give you
until later in the show.
Insider information I have.
Haha. You guys have to stay and listen. Suckers. Anyway, so we'll just kick it off with a little bit of an injury update. Savard is now out for 8 weeks with a messed up ankle. Apparently he hurt this ankle about 3 weeks ago and played on it for that entire time. How?
He's played some of his best hockey the last few weeks too, so
He has.
that's weird.
If your ankle's that messed up, should they maybe just, pull you?
Well, here's my thing. And you look at Weber and the way he is right now, and you look at Price and the way he is right now. And then you have Byron, and with the news we found out about his hip and about how he hurt it long before the playoffs started.
Oh yeah.
What's going on with the doctors in Montreal where they're sending these guys out when they probably shouldn't be? Like the playoffs, I get. The playoffs, I listen, I get it. The players are not going to sit no matter what injury they have in the playoffs unless they necessarily absolutely have to.
See, it's a fine line when you have an injury and you've recovered to a certain extent. You're not 100% recovered, right? You're going out and play again. You re-injure yourself constantly. So you're always in this, the final 10% where you're okay to play, but you're not 100%. And you're constantly vacillating between the two. I can understand that. But when you've got, you tell Weber to get off the ice, honestly.
I see what you're saying, but you
in
got to
this
look at it
case-
too.
In this case, though, I mean, the season is shit. And he's playing hurt for 3 weeks. Why?
And why isn't the coach or the doctors or the trainers stepping in saying, this guy can't play, man? Like, get him off the ice.
It's not like they're competing for a playoff spot
Well, if they win 68 games in a row,
they got a chance.
they got a chance.
And it's not like Savard is out there trying to set a record or win a Stanley Cup because he's already got his cup. So what's the motivation?
I think it's just him being a veteran player. He wants to be there for his teammates, injured or not. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
But good on him. And as Drake said, he had been playing some of his better hockey as of late. So
Oddly enough, yeah.
to see another injury though, it's not surprising with the amount they've had throughout the season. So hopefully he comes back and he's at 100% when he's returned. But at that point, the season's already over as it is. But you tack on another 7-8 weeks, it's going to be that much worse. Team's going to look a lot different than what it does right now.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a review by management on so many things. And I think the training staff is probably going to be one of them too. I mean, there's already chatter on the Francophone side of the media asking these same questions that Treg asked. So there's going to be some poking around.
For the past 3 years, Montreal's had a shit ton of injuries. Like a shit ton of them. Like Price every year has some injury that puts him out. Weber's always injured, but Weber's just Weber. He's one of those guys that he's always hurt. He's going to play anyway. But I mean, Byron last 3 years had major injuries.
Gallagher usually.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, with sometimes Gallagher, I mean, the defensemen hate him and always hit him in the hand with a slap shot. I mean, I don't understand why, but
cross checks to the face.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is I don't think the trainers, and you've hit the nail on the head, especially this season, when a player comes in with a bad injury, they should be like, listen, we're shutting him down, especially this season. We're shutting him down. There's no reason in him playing. And then maybe he's only out 3 to 4 weeks instead of 7 to 8 weeks. And it just seems like the Canadiens play him, then play him, and then play him. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Shea Weber, you got to retire now because you have nothing left. You have no cartilage left in your body. So, yeah, you're done.
Which, by the way, hurts. I know.
But I mean, in Weber's case, it was the playoffs. It was his chance to win a cup. It's probably last chance to win a cup. So yeah, you would have to shoot him in the eyeball. And even then, I think you would have an issue getting him off the ice.
Even then, his eyeball would spit the bullet out.
Yeah.
And then he would wink your arm off.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just think I'm not happy with the training staff. Like I don't Price so far has had, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to get into that now? Do you want to get
We'll
into
get into
Price
it
now,
later,
or-
but
All
there's
right.
been setbacks with his trade.
Yeah.
He's already mentioned it. Yeah. So these are questions that I'm sure are going to have to be answered. They're going to have to look into as we go along, but we'll keep that for maybe later in the week when we have a little bit more information. And we'll move on to the next person who somehow has fallen back under the Canadiens curse, which applies to anybody who is under contract, not just who's with the team, because Claude Julian is now not able to go to the Olympics because he fell down and broke his ribs. And he was only hurt because he is still under contract with the Canadiens and he falls under the curse.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
So
I
what
feel,
are we-
I feel bad for him. I really do.
Yeah.
This was kind of, kind of his moment to get back in the sun type thing, and maybe even get an NHL coaching job. And I'm sure that there's still going to be teams that are going to call him next season. But this is going to change the dynamic of this group 100%. You're going to go from a more defensive minded coach to a more wide open guy. Who's Jeremy Colton or whatever. Yeah, Colton was with Chicago. He was an assistant coach on the staff, and now obviously he's been bumped up to the head coach. But it's going to change the dynamic how this team's going to play, and I think obviously they were better off with Julian at the helm. But we'll see how it goes. They start the tournament February 10th against Germany. See how David Desharnais does against the Germans.
Well, without Julian there, now we know that Wheel and Desharnais are going to be misused.
Facts.
Because only Julian truly appreciated the greatness that was Jordan Wheel.
Well, Desharnais and Wheel are going to be the top line center and winger, and
Wheel Harnais. Dehar Wheel.
Dehar Wheel, and they're going to do wheelie good.
Oh boy.
Especially on the power play.
Yeah. Anyway. So moving on from there, we'll move on to the Canadiens' last couple of games. Since we've last recorded, they've played a couple of games. Well, they had the game against Anaheim where they turned into a close game, a 5-4 loss. They then got spanked a couple times. Most recently by Columbus, who beat the snot out of them 6-3. So,
well, the sixth goal was an empty net, so
it's a goal. It's still a goal.
And funny thing, I put the stat out yesterday. I think
The empty net still had a better chance of saving the puck than Montembeault did. So.
Oh, you know what?
It's about the same.
Yeah, it's about the same.
I see a lot of tweets out there saying, "Oh, I feel bad for Monty. Oh, the defense is letting him down. Oh, Montembeault is not an NHL goalie.
No.
He lets at least 1 to 2 bad goals in a game. The games that they played that were close, they could have won if he didn't let at least one bad goal.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy for Montembeault. He's the red light Rasico. He's red light Montembeault is what I'm going to call him from now on.
The thing is, we've seen it. Like he lets in one of these goals, and then it shows his face right away. His mask off. He's rolling his eyes. He has to know.
Well, that's why he's rolling his eyes.
Or
Right?
just his reaction after the goal goes in. It's like, oh, I can't believe that went in.
Yeah. We can't believe it went in. We can't believe it went in either.
Yeah.
He's a tweener. He's a good AHL goalie. He's a meh NHL backup.
Yeah.
But right now he's being used as a starter on a
And
team
it's
that's doing him
just-
literally no favors.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so many scoring chances are given. And in the 7-2 loss to the Oilers on Saturday, before they got spanked by the Blue Jackets, they gave up 12 high danger scoring chances, a couple of them on breakaways, like 2-on-0s. And Ducharme's response to the end of that game is, well, if you would have told me before the game that McDavid wouldn't have had a shot or a scoring chance in that game, I would have thought we would have had a pretty good chance to win. Like, what kind of spin are you putting up? Stop bullshitting. Stop.
That's all he has left.
That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, holy
Because he's got
God.
enough. He's like, you know what? Yes, he's getting a lot of shit from the media, and he's got a lot of shit
He
from us
is.
throughout the year. I just don't think he cares anymore, and I don't think the team does either when it comes to listening to these systems that he's trying to employ.
What system?
Exactly. I think they know that he's done at the end of the year. I think he knows he's done at the end of the year, and if he can have a couple sound bites with the media from now till then, that's probably what he's going to do. You can't win hockey games with no system, and you can't win hockey games with a glorified AHL starter in net. You look at Montembeault and Primo, who are going to be the 1-2 for the next little while, because Price isn't going to be back for a while. Allen's probably 6-7 weeks out. Montembeault started 13 games. He's been in 19, and he's sitting on an 891 save and a 4.10 goals against. Primo has started 7, appeared in 9, and he has a 4.26 goals against and an 885 save. Those aren't numbers that you can get excited about whatsoever.
In the last 4 games, the goaltending combined is just over 600.
It's insane. And even like, I was excited that McNiven finally got a game. I would have liked to have seen him get a start instead.
I think it's coming.
Instead of him coming in when he did come in. But even then, the game was already lost when he came in. He let up 3 goals on 7 shots, and he's sitting at a 9 for goals against and a 0.571 goals against. So we know that he's likely not going to be part of the future. But with the amount of injuries they've had and back-to-back on Montembeault and everything like that, it wasn't the time to throw him in there.
I think they should throw Primo back to the Laval. Let him play.
Probably would be the best thing.
And McNiven can be the Lindgren. And if you're sticking with Montembeault, live and die with Montembeault.
Yeah.
Like McNiven.
There's a few players that you can say that on the roster right now that shouldn't be in the NHL that would benefit being in the NHL.
Because I would say this,
Montembeault in the AHL.
Montembeault in the AHL only has a 900 save percentage with 3.17 goals against average.
Yeah.
He's not even a good AHL goalie.
But you look at some of the players that are on the AHL right now, guys like Baddock, guys like Jean-Sebastien Day, those kind of guys. Those are guys that have you call them up, and then take somebody like a Paling and put him down the AHL where he's gonna play, and he's gonna play more meaningful minutes as opposed to the Edmonton game where
13.
the Edmonton game, he played 17 minutes. And then in the Columbus game, he played 7. Right? There's why the difference between one or the other.
Now, in Paling's case, there's been a couple of moments in games where he has looked a little bit lost, but the entire team is completely lost. He's not the only one. The team is completely disorganized.
But we're talking about players that can go to Laval.
Oh, yeah.
That are going to develop. I would rather see him in the AHL and Primo, as opposed to them, one getting lit up by NHL players and the other playing 7 minutes a night on a 4th line.
Well, Caulfield, Paling, and Primo should all go to the AHL. Like, Caulfield should be there now. You know what? I'm okay with Paling in the NHL. I don't think
I was going to get
bad.
to that. I was going to make a point on that.
I'm not, but put him in a winning culture. Put him in where he's with a team that could possibly make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs. Give him that. Or play your friggin' rookies, play Paling and Caulfield in the top 6, right? Give them all the goddamn minutes that they would want, or start Primo every game. Start him, live and die by him.
No,
Go one way or the other.
No. You don't put Primo in to start in the NHL and just throw him to the wolves.
Well,
Absolutely
no, you
not.
don't. But
It's that's a horrible way to deal with an NHL.
he needs to
goalie.
play, so he has to
He
go
needs
to
to
the
play,
AHL.
yes, but he needs to play on a team that will actually defend. So send him back down to Laval, 100%. On Paling's point, I agree. He can still benefit from playing in the NHL, but the coaching staff has to play him and not just mop up minutes. You have to give him a defined role, the role that you think he's going to play, say, next year. You want to play third line? There you go. You're now the third line center. You're going to do everything our third line centers are supposed to do in our plan. So kill penalties, match up, maybe get a few seconds here and there on the power play. But there you go. And then at the end, nearing the end of the season, send him down to do the playoffs, because as of right now, during this All-Star break, you can do the paper thing where you can send him down and then bring him up so that he's eligible to play for Laval in the playoffs. But keep Ylonen down there, send Caulfield down there, support Primo properly and send him down there and make him start all the games. Just let him go.
If McNevin's not part of your future, then McNevin
No.
should be the NHL with Montembeau right now. And Primo should
Exactly.
be getting all the starts in the, because right now they're starting Poulin and friggin' this other ECHL goalie because McNevin's on the taxi squad.
And Laval's
So,
winning because they
but-
have a good defensive core as AHL standards go.
Mind you, after the All-Star break, they're getting rid of the taxi squad, but
Yeah.
now McNevin's on the taxi squad. So,
Which
But
will
I
make
say-
it a little easier to send people down and just leave them there.
but I say McNevin's the Lindgren of this year. Like, bring him up, and Primo gets his starts in the AHL. He gets his time in between pipes, and McNevin's the sacrificial lamb that's going to be the backup / hey, if you play better than Montembeau, you're going to get the starts.
What I'm noticing is there's been a reliance on certain players, one of them being Laurent Dauphin.
Yeah.
Did you
true.
not see his penalty shot?
Oh, it was a
And
nice goal.
He's
It was a
had
nice
some
goal,
you know what? He's had some flashes,
but not
but-
20 minutes a night flashes.
but like, yeah, the last four games, 1656, 1508, 1623, 1553, or 1552.
Does he kill
Um,
penalties?
Sometimes
Not much. And he's
it's more power play time.
yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I
Right.
know,
So
I know.
it's if you like take those minutes and give those to Paling if you want that player to succeed. And like
Exactly.
another guy that I've been a little bit surprised at is Pitlick. I think that Pitlick is he's performed since he's been on this team. Against the team, or when they played Edmonton, he led the team in time on ice by about 40 seconds. That's more than Suzuki, more than Anderson, et cetera, et cetera. The very next game when they played Columbus, he played 8:38, third lowest on the team. So I don't get it. In the line that was working with him, Evans, and Anderson, all of a sudden is broke up.
Yep.
And then we see the game against Columbus. Again, only one line shined, and that was the Suzuki to Foley Lehkonen line.
Well, that's like the Lehkonen Paling. Who was it? Lehkonen, Paling, and I forget the third guy. Line for 2 games was clicking. Paling was getting some points. They were playing well. And then, they played well 3 games in a row, and then all of a sudden, no.
Yeah.
Lehkonen's
Like
going to the
I know
top line.
Gallagher came back. I know Byron
Yep.
came back, and you need to fit these guys in. And I don't think they looked out of place. The team itself looked out of place. I don't think they did, especially Byron. He actually
He looked
was-
good.
He looked good. He looked good for a first game in your 40 plus games into the year, and you're playing against teams that have been playing hockey and winning games. I
Yeah,
don't think
good
he looked
step.
out of place. I don't think he looked out of place. You're going to need to find spots for these guys. When is it going to get to the point where a guy like Dauphin goes down, or Paling goes down, or even Pacetta goes down, or something like that?
No, honestly, if you try to send Pizzetta down, you have to put him through waivers.
Yes, and he's probably going to get picked
and
up.
He's probably going to get picked up because he brings an honest, hardworking lunch pail style game every single shift.
That's what teams are looking for.
He sacrifices for his teammates. He steps up for his teammates. And what's his reward? 5 minutes in a game.
Yeah,
6 minutes in a game.
Yeah, 5:28 against Columbus. Yeah, 5:48 against Edmonton.
He's
with 17 minutes of penalties.
And he's not a slow skater. He's an okay skater, but he can keep up. You're not going to put him against top lines.
No.
But, if he's out there and the second line is out there, nearing the end of his shift, he is good enough to figure out, oh, I'm outclassed. I'll keep up for a few seconds, clear the puck, change. Like he's a smart player. He is
he throws the body.
He goes Ryan White.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
He's going to be a healthy scratch from now on with Byron and Gallagher back.
On a really good team, he would be like the 13th guy, but
I'm saying with the Canadiens. I'm saying with the Canadiens, with Byron and Gallagher back, he's going to.
I don't think he should.
A healthy scratch. I'm not saying he should. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying he will be. You know what? I think Ducharme likes his French players. I'm not.
Well, you know what? They made.
I'm not trying to throw a.
They made the right choice the other day by sitting Paquette and putting Pizzetta in.
Yes.
I would wholeheartedly agree with putting that player on waivers.
No one will pick him up.
No one will pick him up. Exactly.
Well, he's done absolutely nothing.
Right. Put him on waivers. And if you're going to keep these guys on the team, play them.
Yeah. See, I would rather put Dauphin on waivers because no one's going to take him.
More than likely not. No.
But there's teams like Philadelphia who would absolutely pick up a Pizzetta and hold on to him. 100%. He is that kind of player.
I would put Dauphin or Paquette long before I put Perreault on waivers before I put Pizzetta. And I don't 100%. I mean, when Perreault's played, he hasn't played terrible. But I'm just saying, Perreault may get picked up, but Paquette and Dauphin aren't going to get picked up.
Well, Perreault, when he comes back from injury, I mean, I don't care. Hopefully he comes back. They'll play him a little bit, maybe trade him for like a 6th or something. So, it's not a big deal. But playing Paquette over guys like Pizzetta and Pitlick. See, Pizzetta and Pitlick to me are the guys they're out there and they're proving that they belong, that they earn an NHL spot.
Yeah.
You want those guys in a losing season because they're bringing that winning attitude where they don't care what the score is. They're going to give you their 100%.
Yeah, they're both free. They're both RFAs.
Exactly. And their 100% may not be good enough in that game. They may be outclassed, but they will never, ever, ever be outworked. Yeah. And that's what you want to see in a season like this. But what does Ducharme do instead? A Dauphin. Who, don't get me wrong, he's okay, but has he earned 15 minutes more of ice time than them?
No.
Yeah. I just want to say one thing. Perreault is the only guy in Montreal that does not have a minus for plus minus.
That one hat trick he had in the early part of the season.
It's 0, but
now plus minus is normally shit, but when you're looking at plus minus comparing to a team, if your whole team is like minus 20 and you're a 0, that means you're doing something right.
Lekkonen's only a -4, and so is Toffoli.
Yeah,
and Lekkonen is playing like a madman.
And shockingly, Armia. I don't know how he's only a -4, but
and anyway, shockingly, Sammy Nico is a +3.
+3, and he's in Laval.
He's in Laval.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and he's gonna really help Laval. I swear to God, Niku, he'll be a top pair defender down there. He was an AHL Defenseman of the Year just a few years back. So Laval is looking very strong. So
and they just got Willett back as well.
Yeah. And if you send Primo back down, we've seen it in his play so far this year. He has had stretches where he has looked amazing and then stretches where he's looked pedestrian. And that's because that inconsistent play is because he's not ready. Okay. So send him down, let him get ready. And he's got a solid defense to back him up.
If the Habs get this guy back, they're their season's going to turn around.
Does
I
he
think
have
they
any HGH?
I think
does
they
he
should
need it?
get him out of retirement.
For those not
and,
watching on YouTube, that's a picture of Jose Theodore,
get him back.
the Propecia kid.
Shutout and a goal in the same game. Only one of 3 goaltenders to do that. And the
winning-
first to do
Yeah.
it.
It wasn't a winning goal, so it doesn't count.
It was the 3rd goal, and the 3-0 went over the Islanders, and he backhanded that motherfucker down the ice.
Now, I want to bring up a point about one of the games. We've talked a lot about how Ducharme's system doesn't exist. Petry's mentioned it earlier in the season, saying, the team's confusion with not knowing where guys are supposed to be and how it's constantly shifting. So apparently, Ducharme is galaxy braining this thing, I guess, with his system. He's constantly 27 steps ahead, and the players have no idea where the hell he is. So the system is not working. And then you have their spirits are way down. You can tell that they're just going through the motions. And then Montembeault gets plowed by Kassian. And nothing happens. Nobody on the ice steps up. Now, Petry watched it happen. He said after the game he didn't see it, but there's actual proof that he was skating around behind him and he was facing it. And he never
Paling
stepped
saw
up.
it too. Paling was right there and saw it too, and he didn't.
Oh, yeah, I was going to get to that. I know Petry, they're shitting on him for not doing anything, like not even pushing Kassian. But Paling was in the corner. Why didn't he do it? Why didn't anybody else do it? Why wasn't, I know Kassian's a tough guy, but
this
you gotta
isn't
do
even
something.
this isn't even a situation where you want to see somebody just all of a sudden chuck both gloves and run at the player and start throwing.
Well, you wouldn't be against it.
There was nothing. Usually you see something when a star player gets hit or a goaltender gets hit, you at least see
A pushback.
you see a pileup, exactly. And that's what I expected when that happened. I expected a group just to go around him, not necessarily a bunch of punches thrown, but especially Petry could have came over there and just said to him, like, what you did wasn't the right thing to do, what the fuck, etc. It shouldn't have had to take a player like Pizzetta at the end
A
of the
period
game
later.
to drop the gloves and be outmatched against a guy like Kassian.
The sad thing is that was Pizzetta's next shift.
Yeah,
He hadn't played in like 20 minutes.
right. And that's when having someone in the lineup like Baddock would make a little bit more sense.
I mean, Pizzetta's fine. He'll
Pizzetta's
fight.
fine, but Pizzetta's fine, but he also fought somebody again out of his weight class, out of his.
Of
And I
course.
know,
Yeah.
I know he's gonna take on all comers.
Yeah.
But you have a guy like Baddock in the lineup that's much bigger, that's used to the heavy game, that's the etc.
Yeah, but he wasn't there.
But still, but he'd be a deterrent in the lineup
Would he though? Would he?
to an
He only
extent,
play 4 minutes a game.
right? To an extent.
I don't see having guys like that being a deterrent, especially to someone like Kassian.
When it
So-
comes to Kassian,
Like,
you're not
just
gonna
grab
fight
his
Kassian.
shirt, something,
Yeah.
swear at him.
You're not going to fight him. Like, no one's going to fight him. Like, because he's one of the few guys left in the AHL, like that Nick Delorier or a Wayne
Reeves.
Simmons, I guess, in Toronto, or Reeves, who you don't really want to. I mean, I guess Wayne Simmons is a little bit down from
Wayne
Reeves
Simmons
and-
is definitely down.
yeah, from Reeves, but he's one of the guys that you're like,
I'm
all I
looking at,
wanted
like,
to see,
Marcus Foligno.
all I wanted to see was the whole team come over and 2 guys grab him or a couple guys grabbing and
Just
then
get
a
in his
couple,
face.
and just get in his face and say, that's not right. Fuck off.
Well,
Like,
think of
that's-
the Minnesota game. Speaking of Pizzetta, Pizzetta hit Dumba in the last few seconds of the game. Everybody went after Pizzetta.
Yeah.
They could have at least done something like that. Not
Yeah.
necessarily 2 or 3 players jump on him and everything like that, but they should have at least got in his face. You get a little bit of a scrum. It would have shown a little bit, but instead there was fucking nothing. And it just made the team look like a joke.
Ducharme was mad about that. He was mad.
Yeah, he wanted 5 guys at the corner, which is
Mad.
basically his defensive style. 5 guys in the corner.
Well, he has
Pretty
two defensemen playing on the same side now. So
Yeah.
A lot. Again,
that was
I can see
evident.
Ducharme sitting on the bench, kind of like Rain Man, and he's trying to like come up with everything.
but
And
this,
the team's like, I don't know what this guy's doing.
but again, this
I
points to
got to
his
watch
system.
Wapner. It's Wapner time.
But again, this points to his system not being understood or just not having one.
Well,
And-
Druin, who played for him before, has had a couple of discussions with him on the ice in practice where he's like, either
the
he
fuck?
didn't understand what he was trying to show them, or he was like, this isn't working. Right?
Either Ducharme is coaching at a level of consciousness so far ahead of everybody that his plans won't be understood for another 20 years, or he's just not good.
Not at the
You guys
NHL level. Not at the
Do you-
NHL level.
Do you guys want to hear my insider information now? Since
Absolutely.
Before we get to the insider information, I just want to point out one other thing. After this incident, the A on Petry's sweater was taken off. Now, I know it's because Byron and Gallagher came back and they need their A's too, but they didn't take away Suzuki's A. They left it there.
According to Chantel Maccabee, that was they were rotating. They're
They're
rotating
rotating.
the A's this year, and it just so happened in the next game
Just
was-
happened.
Because
Like,
they're rolling
just
for
saying.
they're rolling for
they're rolling.
They
four
are.
I think some people freaked out on that a little bit more, and I think they read into it.
If they wanted to avoid that, they could have just left the A on his sweater. That's clearly not
Uh,
planning ahead. They know, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
So what's your insider information?
Well, since we brought up a certain coach in the NHL named Dom Ducharme, my insider information is I do not think Dom Ducharme makes it out of this bye week.
That's not insider information. That's just your assumption.
Insider information.
Oh, like 5 hours?
I know I've read it on a few things now. There's some, even the Francophone media are saying that they believe this
this is the coaching change
bye
week
week.
or the time to search.
this will be, if they're going to get rid of him, it's now or it's never.
And who you think?
Yeah,
And who are you
season.
thinking that they're going to bring in? Do you think it's going to be someone internal, or do you think they're going to bring in someone from outside the organization?
I think it's just going to be like a Luke Richardson or a
Burrows.
Burrows.
Yeah. I read something in the Hockey Writers about the coaching changes coming up.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote about that. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, well, I wasn't getting it from there because I don't trust anything you say. I've known you way too long. But René Lavoie hinted on it. Is it
Yeah.
Lavoie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Gagne-
hinted on it. TVA, Gagne.
Francois
kinda hinted
Gagnon.
on- Francois Gagnon hinted on it. There's no one's actually come out and said it, but a lot of people are hinting around because Hughes said today in his interview that he did today with one of the French media thing, because he's doing a French media circuit the last few days. He said something's got to change. There's the team's lacking leadership. They're lacking a lot of things, and they recognize what's happening on the ice. This was after last night's game, and yes, they understand things got to be starting to put in motion. So
No.
to me, and you're right, Blake, this is more of an assumption. It's not really insider information, but
What's insider?
every insider is doing their own little assumption, just with a little bit of an educated guess. I think Ducharme's. I think he's numbered anyway. I think this is his last
Oh, yeah.
season.
After this season, he is not.
I think
with the
he
Canadiens.
knows it. I think he knows it. I think a lot of people know it. But I think it's going to be sooner than later. I think it's going to be probably this week.
Now, as we're recording, it is the 31st of January.
Yeah.
The plan that Hughes had put out a couple days back is that he was going to sit with Ducharme either today or tomorrow, February 1st, when this episode comes out. He's going to sit with Ducharme and go over the whole thing. What's your system? What's your plan? This is what I want. He's going to get a feel for what Ducharme's laying down, and he'll make a decision.
Yes.
Speaking of leadership, Trey, do you believe we'll see a captain on this team before the end of the year, or do you think that's
No.
a start? Do you think that's a start of something else? Or start of
Gordon
next season?
Hughes already said they're not going to pick a captain until next season, and I believe they're not going to pick a captain until next season. I don't think they need one. They don't need one right now. A C isn't going to change. Listen, I get the significance of a C, but it's really not going to change anything on this team. It really isn't.
No.
I mean, you either have leaders or you don't. Whether they have a C on their shoulder or not the C doesn't automatically make you the special leader that changes everything. It just gives one person one voice, really. And I don't think so. I think Suzuki's going to get it next season. That's my thought.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it for this episode. Before we cut out, final thoughts. Matt, do you have any final thoughts?
Special shout out to everybody on Spotify and Joe Rogan for giving us more viewers than Neil Young. Not necessarily what Joe Rogan's saying, but because of him and Spotify, we now have more viewers than Neil Young.
That might be our new
because he's
tagline.
not there anymore.
That's right.
We technically have more listeners than Garth Brooks too. So
True. Treg, do you have any final thoughts?
wear a mask, get vaccinated because COVID is real. I shouldn't have to say that, but and if you're a truck driver who's still delivering and still keeping my grocery stores and all my stores fully operational, thank you very much. You're the true heroes in this time.
And for me, I want to give my final thought is a shout out to the true heroes in this entire pandemic, the medical staffs, doctors, nurses, all the hospital staff that help out, people that make the food, people that clean, change the lunch, people that the sitters, because there's actually people that sit in the rooms with patients and make sure they don't hurt themselves, and they're the heroes in this. They're not the ones going out and pulling a tantrum or complaining. They're doing their job. They're too tired to do anything else. My wife has been redeployed to a COVID unit, and she's been working 12 to 14-hour days every single day. And she comes home, she is so tired, she can't even yell at me. Which you two understand is, I mean, it's deserved.
You should see what we say to him off here.
Right? My God.
Especially when he says, "How come supper's not ready?" Like 5 minutes after he walks in the door.
That's how I got this scar.
I do the cooking because I'm the better cook, and not by a little. Let's just put it that way. She does a lot of things, but cooking ain't one. So
Picking husbands isn't one either.
oh
But,
God, her taste in men is horrible. Horrible. I can't believe she's been married to me for over 20 years. It's
called
ridiculous.
settling, Drake.
Meet a sailor at the palace. Bing, bing. But no, that I want to thank all the doctors, nurses, healthcare staff, all of them. They're the ones that deserve our appreciation at this time, because this is dragging on too long. I understand the people being fed up with everything going on. Everybody's fed up. We're all tired. We want this to end. So thank you, doctors, nurses, healthcare staff. And with that comes the end of our show. So I want to thank everybody who has tuned in, everybody who's listening, for making us more listened to than Neil Young on Spotify. So thank you so much. And remember, if you are talking about it, so are we.